Buying a car outright or getting a car on finance?
Which one should I choose?
I'm here to tell you guys what my thoughts are on this forever existing question. I'm going to tell you guys about my experiences with cars in the past. Trust me, it gets peak.
You know what you're watching. DS Learning Finance. Whoa.
So, starting from the beginning, my very first car. I bought my car back in my uni days, so you guys know what that means being a typical uni student. You're broke! And you barely got any money. So what that meant was I could only afford a cheap car. I actually ended up getting a Vauxhall Corsa 2006, which was, I think it was like 8 years old at the time. From the outskirts, guys, it looked like it had a lot of work to it. It needed a lot of work. Okay, let's just put it that way. But when I drove it, it felt like a Bugatti Veyron. I felt like the coolest guy on the street driving it, just because I had the car, obviously. So I ended up spending 1.6 thousand on this Corsa. And to be fair, it did last me quite a bit. It lasted me like 1.5 years, I would say. The first 1 year, it was perfectly fine. I was driving down the streets, looking as cool as I am. You know, I'm pretty cool. But yeah. After that 1 year mark, after the honeymoon period was exceeded, this car gave me problems, people. It gave me loads of problems. But the most embarrassing one, the most prevalent one, was that the car didn't start. Nope, it did not start on the first go. It would always take the second go or multiple goes afterwards for it to start. So you can imagine how embarrassing it is taking all your friends and even the ladies to your car and it not starting on the first go. It wasn't good for my street cred. Let's just put it that way. It wasn't good for my street cred, people. And the final nail in the coffin had to do with the catalytic converter in the car. I know for most of you watching that don't know about cars, but that's quite an important piece of the car. And what actually happened was the engine had multiple leaks in it and the actual oil was leaking into the catalytic converter, which is not supposed to do. So that basically meant a lot of money to fix up. In other words, that meant bye-bye Vauxhall Corsa. So I had to part ways with it. A couple of years later now, after my heartbreak relationship with my Vauxhall Corsa, I decided to, branch out a bit more. There's more fish in the pond. I decided to get a 2004 Renault Megane. So you would think that I would go forward with time. I decided to go backwards. It was actually 12 years old this time, the car that I had. And it was a piece of work, people. But I had no complaints because it was cheap. £400, that's how much it cost me. Oh, you guys want me to say that slower? Well, it cost me £400. What? Judge me, say something. But I tell you what, it wasn't just that £400. This car cost me so much in the long run, even more than my mortgage provider. On average, it was costing me like £100 each and every month to fix something. If it wasn't the car radiator, it would be the car steering wheel. If it wasn't that, then it would be the safety bags alarm. It was peak. Financially peak, okay? I just had to get rid of that car. So I ended up getting rid of it and buying a new car on finance though, which was actually 2 years old, ironically enough. But I've not looked back ever since. I've actually done a video of this, guys, so check out here if you guys want to see what car I've got. Mystery. Even though I'm probably going to say it later on in this video, but anyway, you can see it, physically see it in that video, and yeah, just check it out. Cool. So from this, I hope you guys can probably tell what the moral of this story is. It's basically live within your means, guys. Live within what you can actually afford. And even though I have to pay set amounts each and every month, I've kept them low enough so that I am comfortable paying those set amounts each and every month. And I know there's a lot of people that frown on getting a car on finance. I used to be one of them people. However, it all comes back to that one thing, living within your means. Tell me, what's the best thing for you guys to do? Buy a cheap car outright and spend money fixing that cheap car, or buy a car on finance and spend similar amount of money buying that car on finance, but you know it's also reliable, you know it won't break down on you like that, you know you're sorted. It's a no-brainer. That's basically what I did. So I specifically made sure I got a Toyota Aygo, not because I like the car, not because I like the brand, just because it was cheap and it matched similarly with the sort of cost I was paying for that Renault Megane. So basically this £100 that I was spending each and every month to fix this car, instead of doing that, I was actually spending this. I'm actually spending £105 each and every month paying for that car, so it's just £5 more. And I'm not gloating, guys. I'm not bigging this up more than what it is. This actually includes everything, so all the policies, all of that scratch cover, all of that gap insurance, everything, and the car itself. The fees are basically £105 per month. That's how much I need to pay, which is very, very similar to the amount I was paying fixing that car anyway. So in the long run, it actually works out better for me to get this car on finance than to have been doing what I was doing consistently, buying out a cheap car and then having to fix it later on. And like I said, guys, even though this is a new car, this is a Toyota Aygo. It's not the latest car out in the streets. It's not. It's a typical grandparent car. It's a typical car that your grandma or your grandpa will drive. Yeah, but I quite like it because it's cheap. That's the main thing, and I can afford it. Too often do I see people buying expensive cars when they really and truly can't afford it. Think with your minds, people, not your eyes. I know it's hard. Sometimes I fall for it too, but you gotta think long term, guys. Is this car really gonna profit me in the long term? 99% of the times it's not, if it's going to be a stupidly expensive car. For example, if it cost me £500 to buy an expensive car that I really like and I actually earn £2,000, so technically I can pay for it, I still wouldn't get it because I can't afford it, people. Afford it. To me, affording to pay for a car means that you're able to make the payment or payments over a certain period of time, but comfortably do so. And a lot of people misconstrue the two. But all of this is based on what's happened to me personally, my personal scenario. I know a few people that have had older cars and they haven't gone through what I've gone through. i.e. low maintenance issues that they have to worry about and so on. So it really just depends on what happens to you in your personal scenario. So if there's anything I want you guys to take back from this video, it's basically live within your means when it comes to getting a car. Whether it's a car on finance or buying a car outright. Only get a car that you can afford, not that you can just pay for. So you want to be able to comfortably pay for your car, whatever route you guys decide to go. And I hope I've given you guys the tools in this video to make the right choice for yourself. If you guys can relate with this video, or have been through similar experiences, or maybe are going through those experiences now, then make sure you let us know in the group discussion below, guys. Get this convo going. And for all my stock market investors, if you want to gain some more knowledge or get started in the stock market with some books, I've actually done a reading list in the short description box below, so make sure you check that out, guys. It's your favorite YouTuber, guys, Dami Salaru. I talk about stock market investments, I talk about property investments, financial management too, giving you that consistent content, you know? Before you guys can go about doing whatever you're going to do for the rest of the day, say with me, like, subscribe, and share. DS Learning Finance. Whoa! Bye, guys.
Whoa.
Ah!